So in June of 1993, I cold called Hendrick Motorsports. Receptionist picked up and I said, "May I speak to Ray Evernham?" And she said, "Sure, just one moment." I was like, did that really just work? I don't think that works anymore, just so you guys know. A few moments later, Ray grabbed the phone in his New Jersey accent and he said, "Hello, this is Ray." And I was frozen for what seemed like seconds to me. And I told Ray who I was and how I had grown up and what I wanted to do. And I could tell he was in a hurry, which he always is. And he said, "Well, just so happens that we let a guy go today. Can you be here tomorrow for an interview?" And I said, "Yes," not knowing how I would pull this off. I didn't know how I was going to drive from Birmingham to Charlotte. I didn't have a car. I didn't know how to tell my boss that I needed to take a day off. So I went back to work. I told my boss, I said, "Hey, got to take tomorrow off. My grandmother is sick, and I have to drive to Wisconsin." And he's like, "Oh my God, shouldn't you fly?" And I was like, "No, I'll be all right. I got a friend's car." But nonetheless, obviously, I drove to Charlotte, North Carolina. And I arrived late that evening at Hendrick Motorsports. And with my appointment first thing in the morning, I just slept in the car. And I know you guys heard this earlier, but I can remember waking up early the next morning and I'd had a fountain drink in the cup holder. And I used the melted ice to kind of rinse out my mouth and brush my teeth and work on my hair. It wasn't thinning quite as much then. I was working on it. And I put on a new polo and I went in and I spoke to Ray. And Ray asked, he said, "Well, what do you do?" And I told him, I said, "I do everything, but I am not a specialist at anything." And we bantered back and forth for many minutes, and honestly, just like what he said, "Well, where do you want to be in 5 years?" And I thought about it for just a moment, and because I was like, this could go a couple of different ways. And I said, "In 5 years, Ray, I want your job." And he smiled at me and he said, "Be fearful for what you wish for you may receive it." And he said, "When can you start?" And honestly, I started on July 23rd, 1993, working for that man and that race car driver right there. And it was the coolest thing, man. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you both.